Hello, my name is Bob Carroll. I'm the Executive Vice President at Permanent Solutions Labor Consultants, and I want to thank you for joining me on this week's Union Free Words of Wisdom, where we just don't want you to be union free. We want you to be union free with an amazing work culture that unions can never penetrate. Union avoidance, employee retention, employee engagement, employee expectations, and much more that make your workplace somewhere special all have a common starting point, that first interview. As the person performing the interview, you should not only be assessing if the applicant has the talent to be a good fit towards production and service, but just as importantly, a good fit with your corporate culture, or as we say, your corporate DNA. This can be tricky because of unconscious bias. I was co-chairing an HR roundtable recently, and the topic of attracting top talent in a good economy. And I raised a challenge to the group. I asked how many people would just hire a qualified candidate versus waiting to find someone who's a true good fit for their organization. Of course, we all know that far too many businesses will hire a simply qualified candidate to get them in the door because of massive shortages, especially in a good economy. But what does that actually do to your corporate DNA? Well, you could get lucky. He or she may be a perfect fit. But when you start letting people that don't fit into your culture, into your organization, it can become toxic. With this said, I was challenged back almost immediately. I was asked if I was worried about EEOC claims, and the answer for me is no. I'm very aware of unconscious bias, which we all have in our subconscious, regardless of race, gender, personality, and so on. So I would probably answer the question, is this person truly the right fit or not the right fit for our culture? Or am I judging this person based on something that deep down in my head, I just don't agree with? Am I subconsciously judging based on race, religion, sexual orientation, the clothes they wear, a certain look in their eyes, and all the other rules that the EEOC apply? To be fair, I haven't been hiring for some time now, but I remember the feeling. I was always looking for the best person, the one that would gel best with the team and yield the best results, period. The bottom line is that you absolutely want the right person for the job that will boost morale and actually go and talk about how great your organization is so that you can attract more top-notch talent. So that interview was hurdle number one to build a better culture. I clearly remember my previous interviews. I remember one being I was handed a uniform at an EMS company the day of the uniform, and they told me to report to work in a matter of days for orientation, which is the second interaction with employees to show off your amazing corporate DNA or give a clear picture that you lack it. To this day, I'm amazed at how many companies lack outstanding orientation processes. This is the time to make your company shine and pump up your new employees. This is where they learn what is expected of them, the rules they must follow, but most importantly, this is where they should be learning, maybe not memorizing it word for word, but learning your mission, your vision, your values. Yet so many organizations take a shortcut and stick to the basic paperwork, maybe a quick run through a handbook, and what I call a shortcut to thinking safety training, which is usually done by a video. Then, once an employee leaves orientation, they interact with the more tenured employees. If your morale is already broken, guess what? The first thing the new employees are going to hear are phrases like this: "Why did you choose this place? You won't be here long," or "They treat you like crap." And I'm sure if I had more time, I can come up with some more interesting phrases, but they're probably not appropriate for a professional video. The good news is it's not too late. If you already have a strong corporate culture, then top job to you. The praise I'm giving you is well deserved. But I would still recommend an assessment. In our experience, many times, supervisors, managers, owners, executives, they simply want to believe that everything is amazing when it really isn't. Although there certainly are organizations that truly do have great corporate culture. If you already have a damaged corporate DNA, address it. Fixing your corporate DNA will make your life a heck of a lot easier on everyone. If you don't have an orientation or it's lacking, take the time to build a proper one where human interaction from the organization's leadership is actually involved. And today, after you watch this video, go out with your employees. Just observe them and ask yourself, are they happy? And when you realize that they are not, envision what they might be telling the new hires. You can find the answer to a revolving door of employees real quickly. To tie this together, I want to share a story about my first contact with a training officer at the EMS company I mentioned earlier. I already knew there was going to be morale issues based on the interview and the just plain sloppy orientation I received. Now on paper, the orientation looked good, but I certainly did not leave the orientation feeling good. I didn't think it could get worse, but it did. We were told we had to ride for a few weeks with a training officer to learn their way of providing quality EMS service in the private sector. Let me tell you what I learned that first day. I learned 3 things. 1, how horrible it is to work for the company because they let dispatch ruin your day with runs that took you past your off time on a regular basis. 2, how to take as long as possible doing paperwork at the hospital so that you can take a minimal number of runs, which really equated to extended smoking breaks for the training officer. And finally, 3, how to beat dispatch at their own game and never get held over by not letting them know that you were available for another call until right before your shift ended. It was a horrible experience. Ironically, later in my time with this company, I was charged with improving service times, the number of hours utilized in a day per crew, and improving communication with employees once I got into management. I knew their game and improvements were made, but it was still hard attracting quality talent because of the stigma in the EMS community. This company was already well known for their culture. So today's words of wisdom for staying union free and having an outstanding culture is to never forget those first interactions with employees by HR and management, along with their first encounters with veteran employees, last a lifetime. Fix it, or you're going to run in a vicious circle with no way to stop. Thank you for joining me on this week's Words of Wisdom. I look forward to joining you next week as we tackle another very difficult subject matter. Stay tuned. Again, thank you. Bye.